Although you can assign MIDI messages to the different controllers on the Axiom from the front panel, it's a heck of a lot easier to do it using the Enigma control software that comes with it. If you didn't get the Enigma software on a disk with your unit, you can go to m-audio.com, downloads, and download it. Once you download it, you should get something that looks like this. You can select your different instruments here. So we're going to select Axiom 61 defaults, and we'll ignore the other instruments like Key Station. Enigma software works with a lot of different M-Audio products. Starting from the top here, we have some buttons to download from and upload to the hardware connected Axiom. We can create our presets here in software and then send them to the Axiom, or vice versa. We can make little changes on the Axiom on the front panel and then load them back into here for safekeeping. Next we have this section here, which is the bank section. And in M-Audio speak, a bank is a collection of the 20 presets that can be downloaded to the Axiom at one time. If you recall in the last movie, I used preset 2 to control Pro Tools and preset 10 to control GarageBand. Now there are different presets in those slots now, but I'll show you how to get them back. Below the banks, we have the preset section, and those tell you what the 20 presets that are inside the Axiom right now in a default state do. Number one's general MIDI, and then we've got a bunch of different typical software synths. But these may not be the things that you have, so you can customize as much as you need to. That's where something like a user bank comes in. I've started to create a user bank here, and the way you can do that is you can copy and paste. So if we wanted to take Reason Effects here, we could copy Reason Effects and go to the user bank and paste it wherever we want it. We'll paste that into preset 12. As I click on it, I can see the different control changes that are different about each of my presets show up on the front panel. That happens because I've got that selected Show CC channel on graphic, and I've got Scale Device Picture to Fit on my little screen here. But what if your synth or software you want to control is not in this list? No problem. You can add to your own user bank using the library. That's what the icon over here is, and I'll have to move my screen over so we can see it. But up at the top here, we have a whole library of all different synths. Lots of them. This saves you from having to do all sorts of crazy numerical typing. Let's say, for example, we have a Waldorf attack and we want to control that synth. Well, I could create a new preset for it. I'll double click on this to rename it, Waldorf attack. And then I'll just drag from the control palette here some controls. I like my drawbar number 1 to be filter cutoff. So we'll go here, cutoff, and drag that to number 1. And I like number 2 to be resonance. So I'll drag that over. And here's a drive control. That'd be kind of interesting there. Then my last, or 5 through 8 drawbars, I like to have ADSR on those. So we'll put our envelope attack and decay. Oh, I missed. Decay, shape, release. Then slider 9 is typically assigned to MIDI volume, or the volume of that instrument. So I'll pick, I don't know much about a Waldorf attack, but I'll pick an amp volume here and assume that that's going to do the job. Well, that's how you build a preset. That's our Waldorf attack preset in progress. I can save my user bank by going to Export Preset Bank and pick a place to save it. I'll save it on the desktop right now. And there it is. You can rename it, whatever you need to do. There's a harder way to program. This was kind of easy, but let's say you've got something that's not on the list. You've got, like, sitting in my rack is an old Oberheim Matrix 6, which I'd love to control with some sort of sliders, because there's not a single slider on that thing. I guess there's a volume slider, but everything else is buttons. You can't do cool manual filter sweeps or anything. But you can over MIDI, so you'd have to create a map. And to do that, you'd have to go on the internet and find the MIDI control message numbers, and then click on this eye here to bring up the editor. Once you have the editor up, you can type in all of the MIDI control information to go with each slider. So I could select this knob here. I'm going to make that my cutoff for the Oberheim, and then just type in the information that applies to the Oberheim from that list. Virtually every manual of a synth publishes, at least a synth made in the MIDI era that can be controlled that way, publishes a list of these things. Some of them use sysx, like a Access virus uses sysx to control the sliders, so that's not easily accomplished. But for something that's controlled with MIDI control changes, this is the way to do it. All right, that was clear as mud, and there is an easier way, even easier than using the library, and that's to let other people do the work. Other people are doing the work. I found a group of them at Yahoo Groups. There's a group called m-audio_enigma, or just search Yahoo Groups for Enigma and this will come up. In this group, you've got a message board, people asking all sorts of crazy questions about stuff you probably want to know about and problems that they're having. And then there's a files section, and that's where we're going to go here. We're going to download other people's files, and we'll pick the Axiom section and the Enigma files, because we're working with Enigma right at the moment. Let's say we want to control M-Audio's keyrig software. We want to set up controls for that. We could download someone else's work right here, Axiom61 keyrig.zip. I'm going to click on that, and that will download it to my desktop. We're going to go here and unzip that thing, open the folder. In the folder are some instructions and then an XML file. If I go back to Enigma, import preset bank, navigate to that XML file, here it is. Now a new user bank shows up called Axiom61 keyrig. And you can see that the keyrig instruments, stage piano, polyphonic synth, electromagnetic organ show up, and they're already mapped for us. I can copy and paste them to my user bank from this user bank. You can see, by the way, that the rest of this user bank is filled out with the default stuff. They didn't need to change it, so they didn't. We're going to go here, and we're going to copy preset, go to my user bank, and we're going to paste and start to build this thing up. You can use your copy and paste shortcuts on the keyboard as well. Get the electromagnetic organ and paste that in. So I'm starting to build my user bank. This is getting pretty cool. I'll go ahead and upload that to the Axiom. Now it's in the hardware, ready for me to hit recall. That's it. Recall right here, 05, and that would bring up the electromagnetic organ preset. Cool stuff.